because automobile manufacturing is, in the big grand scheme of history, is also a proxy for how many tanks can you make, right? Like if things hit the fan, right? That's why there's always a push to have a domestic production of cars, not just in the U.S., but like kind of in every country wants to have that.
What does that even mean? Right? What does it mean from a hardware perspective? What does it mean? Because in fact, the systems will probably show up for meaningful problems in such integrations.
And I kind of just wonder, like, how should business leaders, assess, risk versus opportunity when they're hearing about all this incredible, interesting, innovations that's happening?
So I think people look there's a lot of good stuff going. A lot of it is incremental. And absolutely, people need to have a steady stream, or at least a reasonable stream of news, right? So this means press releases. This means maybe a blog entry. Sometimes you go back and say, this company hasn't done a press release in 3 years. Like, that's not quite right. And then there are several that, like, if they don't have at least 2 a week, they're falling behind. They don't seem to realize people's eyes glaze over and say, yet one more amazing thing from the #1 self-proclaimed company, right? And things like this. Yeah, there are. And it's, again, it's for investment dollars, to a large extent, or, one way or another, public or private, stand on the radar, to stay on the radar map. I do a newsletter. I've kind of shifted the way I do it, but I generate the actual HTML, which gets published programmatically. And I go through and I look for words like breakthrough or pioneer or first ever. And I put them in bold italic just so people will see, how they do this. And there've been several this week, that once you get past the headline, it's like, so they really didn't do anything, did they? Right. Yeah. So someday, once some of these calm down, I will maybe publish a list saying, here are the keywords to look for. Right. And here are the things that should make you ask more detailed questions. They tell you this, but they don't tell you that. So I break these things down saying, okay, well, you're telling the truth. You're telling a great story. You're making a choice of how technical or whatever, but everything you say is factually correct. Right. Now maybe we'll jazz it up a little bit, marketing, and say, yeah, you're amazing. Okay.
Yeah, get it exciting. So put some sizzle into it. Yeah.
And then you kind of move into the danger zone, which is lying by commission, where you are actively saying something